So when I was a little girl, these things would just, like dissertations, sort of be going through my head. And the one I remember the best was about hell, that it really wasn't a place, that hell could happen here, but it didn't have to, and it just wasn't this place, because I was raised Catholic, so they were always plying us with this hell stuff. But that was just one. There was lots of others, and I had the good sense to not tell anybody, And so it kind of went from there all my life. So were you talking to me back then? Who was talking to me?
Well, you certainly were in the receptive mode, weren't you?
Yes.
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 And it's interesting that you were in the receptive mode and you felt true resonance with it.
Yes.
But even at that early age, you knew that others were already outside of their ability to feel resonance with it.
Yes, and it was dangerous.
So you
tell them as a child.
Had the good sense to just keep those happy thoughts to yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
So then as I progressed through grade school and got to be like 8 or 9 or 10, I would go home to my mother and say, "Wait till you hear what they told us today." And she would say, because she was very afraid, and maybe she was a little afraid for me, I'm not sure, but she would say, "Well, now, Charlene, if they told you that, don't you think that's true?" And I would say, "No." No, I don't, But still, you're affected by the indoctrination, and you kind of have to move out of that.
What you are describing, and so perfectly, is what it's like to be in an environment where you are receiving conclusions about beliefs from those who are physically around you, at the same time that you are receiving knowing, pure knowing, from your broader perspective. And because you are an emotional girl, because you were able to feel the relativity or the relationship, you were able to, oddly, and we mean that only in the sense that most are not able to maintain that feeling of connection against all of that coming at them. And isn't that sort of where everyone is every day, you all these days? Where you have this knowledge that's coming forth from within that is constantly being challenged. Esther even said to us on many occasions, "But Abraham, it's true. I see these things played out with my eyes. These things are true." And it took a while for us to help her to understand that anything becomes true that people hold as their point of attention for a while, because that's the way that law of attraction works. And so
the other thing that's been on my mind, the work that I do, I've done lots of different kinds of work, but I do Reiki and hypnosis and something called Z-Point. And
would you say all of that is in wanting to help people tune into their broader knowing?
Yes.
Yes.
My middle name, my literal middle name that I was given is Liberata. So I can feel my journey from having that as a child and then growing up with it and then claiming it now.
Yeah.
Claiming it.
It's what we wish for all of you, that you claim your inner resources. And we'd like that you've been sensitive earlier on. We'd like that you were born with that stubborn connection. We like that you were able to stand in knowing what was coming forth from within you, even with so much that was being offered. And we like that now you've moved through it so that you don't have to wonder about that. We like that you've discovered the ease of connection. And we like the freedom that you were born knowing, so much so that it was given to you by name, and that you are rediscovering every day. So how does this knowing play out in the work that you are doing?
Yes, thank you. Really. Because I listen to YouTube, you a lot, and on the topic of work and things like you say lots of different things, and they're not always congruous.
Not on YouTube.
And I understand that. That's fine. I do. But I am at a point of really congealing the things that I do into a way to talk about it to people.
Well, isn't that a product of being predominantly in the receptive mode and feeling the impulse and then seeing the way it plays out? Isn't that just the way that it goes, or that it should go, or that it does go?
It's not taking away people's free will.
You can never do that.
No, I don't even want to. I think that's pretty solid in me. But for instance,
well, how could you possibly? How could you possibly?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But like I've heard you talk about the subconscious mind.
Could you guide someone? Could you get some cockamamie philosophy going, and could you guide someone? Could you mislead anyone?
Probably not. No.
Was it possible for you to be misled?
Not for long.
Didn't you feel the offness of it every time it happened?
Yes.
And wasn't there something within you that knew? And didn't it keep you searching? Didn't it keep you asking? And didn't the asking keep bringing more knowing? And won't it always?
Yes.
And so is there an ending to knowledge?
No. But I have to make a living. And I want to make a living, and I want to make a better living, and want to get more clarity about what words actually describe what I do. Not necessarily the words that other people use. I feel like there's some kind of permission that I need to give myself, and I'm not quite sure what it is.
So you accept yourself as an open valve or vortex through which impulses and knowledge flow, and good timing and good words. And in order for that to be happening in a moment, then the feeling that must be present within you is one of trust, openness, allowing, accepting, happiness, eagerness, interest, ease. So it's about not trying. We were sort of talking about all this just before.
Yes.
Don't you know how often you are open? And aren't you aware of how wonderful this knowing flows through you?
Yes.
And don't you really have a very deep trust about that?
I do.
And don't you see manifestational evidence of that? And is it present in every moment? No. But do you know how to get back to it?
It's always important when it needs to be. I mean, it always happens when it's important for it to happen.
Because the importance causes the attention causes the focus, and because you've practiced it long enough, you know when it's there and when it's not there.
You're right.
You've been doing this since you were a very little girl.
Yeah.
You've been knowing the offness of that and the onness of that, and you've come to trust the thing that is most important to trust, and that is your connection.
Yeah.
That's your open valve. That's your channel to source energy.
Yes.
So now, anyone that you might be visiting with, as we are with you, anyone that you might be visiting with, do they also have a connection to that source energy?
Yes.
And mightn't they be open to it sometimes and not open to it other times?
Sure.
And in a moment that they're not that open to it, is your openness to it going to be beneficial to them? If in any moment in time they're not open to their own conduit,
Yes.
is you being open to their conduit really helpful to them?
I guess not, no. I mean, I guess I think maybe if they notice and then it wakes them up or something, maybe, but it's not my doing.
But what if they're asking for something in a very strong way that they are not in a moment of allowing? Could you be an example or a catalyst of allowing?
Yes.
And do you think that if you received something on their behalf and spoke it to them, even if they have a little resistance, do you think that their resistance might give way just a little bit to their desire?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because then they come back.
Haven't you experienced that on many occasions?
Yes.
So if you release your feeling of responsibility, this is the piece for you. If you will release your feeling of responsibility, that they will hear it right now from you. And instead, you will accept and trust your ability to hear it. And you will feel no dog in the fight, so to speak. No responsibility for whether they get it now or whether they don't. Just trusting that in time they will. And standing in that compassionate place where you know in time they will because they want it so much. Then this little tension that you develop over whether they're getting it or not will subside, and then you'll be wide open. Then more will flow. Then you'll feel better. And then you will be doing it for the real and only reason to be doing anything, for the thrill and for the flow and for the exhilaration, not for the result.
I was noticing that the joy had kind of subsided with it. That's why.
This is the thing that we want you to hear and everyone else to hear too. You are so wanting this red hot minute for the full manifest. So in this example, you can hear it, can't you? So someone's asking for something that they're not ready to hear. And she's open and hearing it and telling them what she's hearing, but they're still not hearing it. So can you feel that still there's value in her saying it, in her knowing it? And can you see how later they'll be perhaps more ready to hear it?
Yes, because that's happened to me.
But this is the piece that we want you to receive from this. We want it to not matter that they get it right now. And we want it to not matter that you don't see the path to your money right now. And we want it that you're not getting it right now on some subjects either. You're not getting it right now. We don't mean in this context of what we're offering. We're talking about a desire that you have, something that you're creating, a building, a house, a lifestyle, a relationship, a circumstance, an event, all of these things that you are in the process of creating. We want you to be accepting of how much you can get right now. That's what we were talking about earlier. Am I willing to allow myself to receive to my capacity to receive right now? Or am I going to be all balled up and clawing and fighting and demanding something that I'm not ready to receive? And the reason that this is such a good conversation to have on the heels of what we were talking about earlier is that no matter how clear you are and you are clear, no matter how clear we are and we are clear, we cannot conjure the receptive mode in another. We can only offer and offer and offer and offer and be steady in what we're offering, trusting and knowing that at some point in time they'll be in a place where they will be ready to receive. And that's the way the universe, that's the way your inner beings, that's the way we are all looking at the things that you are about. That's what we are knowing about the fortunes that you are seeking, or the breaks that you're looking for, or even the ideas about how you will make your living, or all the things on your list that you feel are not yet fulfilled. We want you to feel from this conversation that it's there for you, and we want you to not be mad at yourself or anyone else that you may not right now, this red hot minute, be in the receptive mode where you can see it all, because what you can see from where you are is enough. It's enough. And if you will let it be enough, then it will be more. But if you won't let it be enough, it can't be more. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
So how's it going? So far, so good. You getting everything you want? Steady flow, yeah. Are all the things you want manifesting in perfect timing? Are you happy where you are? Exceptionally.
Yeah.
Is everything you want been satisfied? No, it never will be. Those things I hear you talk about, is it parked in your garage yet? Is it sleeping in your bed yet? Is it in your bank account yet? Unfolding perfectly. Unfolding perfectly. If you are satisfied with where you are and anticipating more, now your receptors are open And now the impulses will be received by you.